Now, this might literally be the best documentary that I've watched this year. If not, it's definitely in the top five. You guys, if you're new here, my name is Ashley, and this is My Sweet Perspective, where I give my take on all things TV and movie related. And y'all know that I'm here to put you on. So when I see something that I feel like is exceptional or amazing, I have to talk to you about it. And shout out to the sweet pea who actually told me about this during a live last week, talking about this is what they were watching. Now I see why you was watching it, sis. It's incredible. You guys, I am talking about Into the Fire, The Lost Daughter, which aired on Netflix last week. And baby, this is the energy we need to have all about the children. All right. This is the energy we need to have. Again, make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, do all the things if you're here for this type of review and content. But basically, we meet Kathy Turkanian, and we find out that 36 years ago, she put up her baby for adoption. She was a teen mom, 16 years old, and like a lot of teenage girls that got pregnant back in those days, a lot of times the parent would say, "Nah, baby, you ain't bringing that baby here. Don't come home with no baby." And so she has gone through the pregnancy, had the baby, is ready to be a mom. And her mom says, "No, you need to give this baby a good life." You know what I mean? And so if we put her up for adoption, she'll be fine. She'll go to an exceptional family. And so with that in mind, she decides to do what her mom says and put the baby up for adoption. Andrea Bowman. And so now, years later, she gets a call talking about, "You remember that baby you put up for adoption? Well, we found a body. She went missing. We found a body, and we need to see if you're a match, to see if this was Andrea." She does the match. It's not hers. And so imagine you thinking you're giving your baby away to a good home and that she's good. You find out years later that your baby may be unalived, and you go and it's not your baby, but now you know your baby's missing. And so with this, Kathy is now on a mission, honey, to find her child because the adoption was closed, and she just knew that her daughter had never reached out after these years. And so she just assumed it was a foregone conclusion that she was ever going to meet her. But now that the baby's missing, I need to find her. Now, again, I had a bit of hesitation with the story being a product of adoption myself. Now, why? You know what I mean? But I have to keep in mind this was a 16-year-old girl at the time, under pressure from her mother. And she did maybe what she thought she had to do in the time. And so now we discover again that her daughter, Andrea, has disappeared in 1989, and we really know nothing else. The documentary tracks her journey, this fight really to discover what really happened. Now, baby, when Kathy goes to the town, to these people who adopted her baby, she gonna put it to work. It was like, listen, the Lord was on her side because she felt it. She said, "Oh no, something's not right here. I think this is what happened, and I think my baby is right under there." Listen, uncanny. And so during this doc, we're going through the journey. We meet her, and immediately you do fall in love with her. This documentary was directed by Ryan White, known for Pamela, a love story. It was in two parts. Basically, they could have just made it one documentary. I don't know why they're doing these docuseries style things, because all it does is piss me off and give Netflix the opportunity to say, "Are you still watching?" Yes, I'm still watching Netflix. But again, it's short. I think each episode is an hour, maybe not even an hour and a half, but maybe just over an hour. So about a 2 hour runtime. You will cry, you will get angry, you will be in your feels. It's going to deliver on every major touch point of emotion. So just keep that in mind. We discover early on from Kathy that the police really did nothing to help. And was it of the time? We can't say so, because Kathy talks about a time when she ran away and all of the authorities were roped in. And so that kind of started begging questions initially. As we go in, again, she says she's going into the fire to find her child. And if anger's got to be the fuel, then that's going to be the fuel, because that's what kept her going. She said everything else requires you to eat, sleep, do all the things. Anger don't need that. Because she said she was just pissed more than anything. She was pissed at the police. She was pissed at this adoptive family. Baby, now we meet the damn family. Dennis and Brenda Bowman. They got her, you know what I mean? They couldn't have a child on their own. Apparently, he fell in love with her before he went to the Navy. When he got back out the Navy, they needed to be married. We have accounts from other people in this small town, and they say, listen, they were meant for each other. And apparently they were, because they were thing one and thing two. They deserved each other. Because how can you know your husband's history, which we're going to get to, and bring little girls in the mix with him? So not only do they adopt Andrea, they adopt a baby, right? And so when the baby comes, apparently the dynamic in the household shifts according to Brenda, the adopted mother who'd always wanted a child and said this was her child, this was her baby, this was the love. But we get accounts not only from family members, right? But we get accounts from Andrea's classmates who talk about how she hated going home, how the stepfather, Dennis, had SA'd her and done inappropriate things. And when she wanted to go to the school to talk about it, in those days, the school was going to tell the parent was going to come, you guys were all going to sit in a room and you were going to be confronted with them, right? And like most children, no, nothing happened. I made it up, da 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 da. And so Brenda to me knew everything that happened. I don't care how much she cried at the end when it was all revealed. I don't give a damn. I don't. She knew something because she knew her husband and she knew what he had done. And so now we can get into what happened. So again, the friends say that they'd go over for dinner. Baby, they would make her eat a wish sandwich, which was bread, mayonnaise, ketchup, and relish with no meat while they were eating burgers. She and her friend had to eat that. And that she was wanting to run away, but said she couldn't leave the baby. That was basically her baby. And she couldn't leave the baby in the house with them, according to the friends, right? So one day, all of a sudden, she goes missing. Dennis Bowman, the father, is the one who reports her missing, right? And apparently the police did something, but not really, because no one ever finds her. Brenda thinks she's run away because she's run away before, but she comes back. But this time, no, nothing. She's just gone and she's missing. And Brenda acts like she's so concerned. But girl, you weren't concerned. And Dennis, too. We hear a little bit of the interview. She just hasn't been home and we're just worried and we don't know what to do. And Brenda's like, we just don't know what to do. But we know what it was. We know what it was. We know how she referred to Andrea as look what she did. Look what that one did. She wasn't endearing or anything. And again, the friend group tells all because Kathy goes back to the hometown and she talks to the school age friends. She also talks to Brenda and Dennis and tells them what he did and tells them he was wrong because we discover that not only is Dennis completely unhinged, but he's been to prison for trying to unalive somebody before. We meet also his other prospective victims who got away, and Meta and Kathy connect, and it's like an instant kinship. Meta feels like Kathy is the mother she never had, and I think vice versa, that Meta is the daughter she never got to know. And so they partner along with some other like sleuths, just regular people, right? But who are fascinated with investigating cold cases because it's years and years, decades later. And so now we're on this quest. It comes out about Dennis, what he had done in the past, and that Meta thinks that this could be the person that also did this to her. And so again, we're still not getting anywhere. All of a sudden, one day, again, because Kathy's not letting up off his head. She's on the Facebook. She calling Brenda. They're trying to have vigils in the town. Kathy almost slapped Brenda. It went down because what you're not going to do is pretend you don't know anything about the child, Brenda. She should be in the prison next to Dennis, if I can be honest with you. And so one day she gets a call that Dennis has been arrested, and she's like, oh my goodness, finally, justice for my child. It's for a whole different woman in Virginia that he has gone into this lady's home, paid her, and unalived her. While he's in there, the detective acts like he's his best friend. He's bringing him Starbucks. Dennis thinks he's got it made. He thinks he can open up. He starts talking, all of a sudden switches voices, and a demon comes out talking about the demon made him do it. He lies some more again, but they start digging up the yard because remember, Kathy saw something in the yard and said, that's where my daughter is. Nobody believed her. They had to get warrants. They had to do all these things. So now that he's in custody, it's like, okay, let's see what's going on. So when Brenda and the daughter come to see him, saying, oh, you don't touch family. I would never, you fight with them, you do this, but you don't unalive them. And of course, Brenda's eating up everything, she says, because that's her man, her man, her man. And she gonna stick beside him no matter how despicable and vile of a creature he is. Nevertheless, we go on, and finally, when he finds out that the yard's being dug up, he tells a whole different story. He chopped the baby up, put her in the trash. Come to find out, she was in the yard the whole time. And God knows what else he's taken out over the years because he's despicable and vile. And do you know Brenda still talks to him to this day? Talking about, well, if you talk to me, they'll let you stay in the prison close to me. But baby, at that court hearing, the judge said, this is the worst thing I've heard. The prosecutor said, no, he don't get to choose where he stays. Send him away. And amen, send him away. I wish there was a harsher punishment for this man, but Kathy stood on business. Kathy stood on business the whole time. At the very end, Brenda cremates the remains and gives Kathy half. And Kathy's like, this be. And I know Kathy would want to fight her if she could, because how do you have a child, take that child in as your own, and you still connected with the man that unalived her? BFFR, unbelievable, unhinged. But y'all, definitely a story worth watching. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of it. Again, I think this is one of the best docs that I've watched all year. And let's talk about it in the comments. If you're still here, thank you for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all of the things, and I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.